But we've been going back and forth on minimum wage. It's not like we haven't raised the minimum wage before. So why does this come as a shock to some people that economists are divided on this?
Well, it is a fascinating question, because if you only took a year of economics, you would have learned, well, isn't it true that if you raise the price of something, people demand less of it?
I remember that from my 1 year of economics.
That was the one class I didn't sleep through. So, but it turns out that, and that was the traditional view, that yes, if you raised wages, the majority of people would get a raise, but some number of people would lose their jobs. But as they began doing careful studies of places, for example, they compared New Jersey, which raised its wage, to Pennsylvania, which did not. They looked at county by county comparisons. They looked at Britain, where they raised it significantly in 1999, and they were unable to find really dramatic effects. They would range from 0 to something very tiny. Now, the Congressional Budget Office has given us a number which is probably at the higher range of those effects, but if you just look at the evidence, for a variety of reasons, it appears that it does not lead to widespread layoffs.
But Greg, the traditional way of taking the politics out of this kind of thing is to index benefits, so Social Security, everything else, index to inflation. That's never been the case with the minimum wage. Would it have made a difference if it was? And would that be a way of reducing the political impact here?
Well, definitely, because you wouldn't have to go back to the Congress every 3, 4, 5 years and ask them to raise the wage just to get it back to where it would have been if it had kept up with inflation. The current federal minimum is, the president's proposal to get it to $10.10 would only put it back to where it was in the early 1980s in inflation-adjusted terms.
But for some reason, inflation adjustment was never part of this. Why not?
Well, it is. He will index it to inflation once it goes to $10.
Proposal would.
His proposal would, yeah.